Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. Tonight is November 17th, 2015. Prior to taking a motion for the agenda, I would like to reflect on the recent events in Paris. The loss of 129 people, over 352 people injured. We certainly in this country can empathize with what they're going through right now, both from 9/11 and of course the Boston Marathon terrorist attacks. The one thing that I want to remind everyone is as we watch the news and it upsets us, and it will, and we start getting a little depressed, is never forget the resilience of the human spirit. We have such a strong knack of being able to pick ourselves up and move forward with strength beyond compare. One thing we learned after the Boston Marathon is Boston strong. And I think tonight we can also say Paris strong. So with that, I would like us all to have a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. All right, Mr. Hillman will be joining us shortly. So do we have any amendments or anything on the agenda? Yes.
Madam Chair, under the fire chief's report, if the board doesn't object, if we could add a third item, which is a request, reserve fund transfer for ladder 1 repair. Was a last minute item that is time sensitive that the chief will speak to under his report.
I have no issues with that.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Agenda approved. All right. Few announcements. All right. The annual turkey party will take place tomorrow on Wednesday, November 18th, 2015 at 7 p.m. from the Ayer Fire Department. The 11th Annual Ayer Fire Department Thanksgiving Day 5K will be held November 26, 2015. Race starts at 8 a.m. at the Ayer Fire Department. These are the words we all hate to hear. A winter parking ban is in effect as of Friday, November 15, 2015 through April 15th. Friday, November 15th. When did it go into effect?
Sunday, November 15th.
Sunday.
Oh, I'm sorry. It said here Friday. Sunday, November 15, 2015 through April 15, 2016. The winter parking ban prohibits the parking of any motor vehicle on the street or sidewalk throughout the town of Ayer overnight from 12:01 a.m. to 6 a.m. and during snowstorms. Okay. And the downtown Ayer Christmas celebration will take place on Saturday, December 12, 2015 from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And the annual Tuba Christmas concert will be held on Sunday, December 13, 2015 at 2 p.m. Both events are free and open to the public. All right. Anyone here for public input? Anyone? Anyone? Okay. All righty. Chief Murray.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So there's several appointments that I'd like the board to make tonight. I'd like to start with our new prisoner watch people that we've vetted. There are 3: Wayne Sears, Sandra Chamberlain, and Darlene Bulow. Wayne is a Ayer resident, Army veteran. Just called us up out of the blue and said, what can I do to help? Heard about our prisoner watch position and he would like to take on that per diem job. Sandra Chamberlain is currently in our Citizens Police Academy. She's an Ayer resident as well. And that's how she heard about our opening. We kind of force this upon the Academy participants every year. And hopefully we get a few. This time we got 1, we get 2 actually. So that's her background. And then the third is Darlene Bulow. She's a Leominster resident, employed at Job Corps. We're allowing her into our academy, and that's how she heard about it as well. So those are the 3 that I would like appointed as per diem prisoner watch personnel.
Starting now?
Yeah, starting immediately.
Yesterday?
Yeah. They'll do some initial training before they can work anyway, which we already have set up for the end of the month.
Okay. Make a motion to approve Wayne Sears, Sandra Chamberlain, Darlene Bulow as per diem prisoner watch. People effective immediately.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Congratulations.
Thank you. And if I could bring up Paul Burns and Stephen Lucier. In that order from my right to left.
Okay.
Paul Burns Jr., Stephen Lucier III. These are our candidates for the full-time Air Police Department patrolman's openings. These guys were two of 7 candidates finalists for the job. They were vetted through a background investigation and an oral board interview. Oral board consisted of Lieutenant Gill, Sergeant Edmonds, and Officer Pearson, and the backgrounds were done by our detectives, Kelly Barheit and Drew Kolarski. Paul is a 24-year-old resident of Westford, was employed with the town of Attleboro, or has been since January of 2014, and he's just trying to look to reduce his commute. He's a self-sponsor from the Western Mass Police Training Academy, holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from St. Anselm's. Stephen is a 27-year-old resident of currently Harwich, who says he'll relocate if given this position. He's currently a police officer down in Eastham since March of 2012. He's also a self-sponsor through the Boylston Academy, holds a bachelor's degree from criminal justice from Fitchburg State University. Down in his community, he's been very active, working with the kids in the elementary school, and he set up an annual fundraiser for the physical education program at the elementary school, as well as a back-to-school program that provides children in need with essential school supplies. I think those are 2 exciting programs that I'd like for him to try to bring into Ayer. Both appointments will be contingent upon a physical and psychological exam, and I would request that they be effective November 30th with a Step 2 patrolman pay, as they are already academy trained.
Where exactly is Harwich?
Which is on the Cape, right at the elbow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's around goes to Orleans.
All right, I knew I'd heard of it, and I'm like,
There's a couple nice bars down there.
I'm sorry?
A couple nice bars down there. They keep you busy.
Yeah, well, in our town, we actually only have 2, so.
You guys here with your own free will? Yeah, okay.
okay.
Nobody wants to say anything? You just want to get appointed? Okay, I'll do it. Make a motion to appoint Paul J. Burns Jr. and Stephen H. Lucy III to Ayer Police Department, open police officer positions, effective November 30th, 2015, a starting rate of pay Step 2 patrolman.
Second, but just a question. Probationary period, Chief, 6 months?
1 year
1 year? Okay.
from the date of
Don't take that personally, I just...
from the date of the 30th, yes.
Okay.
Because we're already academy trained.
Okay.
Okay.
Second carries motion.
All right, motion's been made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
And I just want to recognize that a lot of my department's here tonight, and
Yes.
Stephen has a lot of family here tonight, everybody in support of these 2 appointments.
And we
No,
thank them for
congratulations.
being here.
Do you, typical new shifts start on the evenings or overnight?
They're going to be at the whim of the rest of the patrolmen, who will have shifted
Mhm.
preference. So I'm imagining both will be on the midnight shift.
And how does that work? Just curiously, do they ride with other patrolmen to learn the town and stuff like that?
So
initially?
typically, our training, our FTO, we call it a field training program, is 11 weeks long. And
Mhm.
during that time, they'll be assigned a field training officer,
Mhm.
and they'll work with them for the first few weeks. Then they'll rotate through all the shifts to another field training officer. So they'll go through all 3 shifts and then come back to their own. There's an evaluation, there's as much paperwork that we do, verifying that we've done everything we can to train these guys, and if they don't get it after that, well, they probably shouldn't be here.
Understood. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good luck. You don't have to join the union.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
See you guys.
All right, we will now see the
Nice
room
seeing you.
empty.
Public hearing?
Up to you. Not a reader.
Okay.
Not today. Ready?
Ready?
All right. We're on time, right? What time do we have it scheduled for?
7:05.
All right,
Yep.
7:10. The Town of Ayer notice of public hearing, Ayer Board of Selectmen. The Ayer Board of Selectmen will be conducting a public hearing on Tuesday, November 17th, 2015, at 7:05 at the Ayer Town Hall, first floor meeting room, Room 1, Main Street, Ayer, Mass. 01432, regarding the application by JAR Realty Corporation, 1 Nemco Way, Ayer, Massachusetts, 01432, seeking an amendment to their current license to increase capacity to 2 million, what is that?
Yeah, that was right. 2,080,000?
2,080,000 gallons of storage of flammable and combustible materials, Class B vegetable and olive oils pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 148, Section 13. Janice L. Livingston, Chair, Gary J. Luca, Vice Chair, Christopher R. Hillman, Clerk, and it was posted November 6, 2015.
All right, do we have JR Realty here?
Hello again.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. Welcome back.
Yes.
All right, so you want to increase your capacity to 2,080,000 gallons of flammable and combustible materials. Okay. I think, looks like we have everything here as far as everyone who needed, Board of Health, Police Department. Yes, Gary?
What's your current capacity?
About 1 million.
Okay.
Yeah, two.
Is this at the new facility across the road at the
No,
other
no,
Canes?
the one
This is
Nemco.
at your current?
Yes.
Okay.
I love these new forms.
DPW, they verbally gave me an okay. He just didn't get his foreman. Same with conservation.
Chief Pedrazi, anything else there?
It's, all they're doing is increasing their capacity. They have a tank farm in there now, they're gonna double the capacity. It's in 20,000 gallon tanks, it's not one big tank, and they have to go through the fire marshal's office to be permitted for this facility, because it's so large a capacity, so it'll be done correctly. And it's got 1.5 times the storage capacity if there was a leak.
Oh, okay.
No, they're good business, they follow all the rules, there's no problems.
Great.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the license to, is it JAR Realty Corporation for pursuant to Mass General Law, 148, Section 13, storage of flammable materials, to increase it to 2,080,000 gallons, effective once this fire.
It'll probably be like spring. Yeah, like May or June of 2016.
And it's signature by the chair.
Second. Madam Chairman? Do we have any butters?
Oh, I'm so, my apologies. Do we have any butters?
I think I'm about it.
Thank you.
Actually, I think about it.
I'm so sorry.
I thought I was skipping over that.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Thought
You
something went
guys have been
a
good.
little
So I move
easy.
just-
over here.
Did you get that?
Michael Pattenden. I live at 42 Westford Way,
No, I think
Westford
it's-
Road,
it's-
which on this map is here. You can see Catania, if I spell it correctly, here. Okay, so I'm arguably the closest abutter. Several points, but I'll keep it to 3 if I may. First of all, where is the additional storage going to be?
Opposite side of the facility that you're on.
Okay, so when you took out the first line of railroad tracks for more oil tanks, those are going to be the oil tanks that you'll be using.
Yes.
Okay, will any of them stand above the building itself? You're using just
All
enclosed,
all
the existing ones?
It'll be
Okay.
within the building. The building will be as high as the highest portion is right now.
Yeah, okay, fine. And I assume that there will be some protection for the pond just in case you do develop a major leak.
We're required to follow.
That was
spill
the 1.5
containment.
times the storage capacity, retainment walls.
So 3 million odd gallons, right?
1.5 times the largest container.
Oh, individual container, you're assuming just one
Yeah.
container would develop a leak if any.
That's the regulation, yes.
Okay. Then I'm not quite sure how this fits in, but do you anticipate any more trailers? This Google map from a while ago shows 7. That's the way it's been typically for a long time. Past few days, there have been 17 trailers there, including this completely full and parked up here. So even if there were going to be any more, I don't quite know where you would put them.
Okay.
But are you anticipating any more trailers?
No, because we don't have anywhere to put them.
Okay.
We're working to reduce it too. When we
Yeah, we are looking to manage it better.
And if I notice, you tend to have days of the month where you get all the trucks in at once. Have I noticed that?
There
Where
are
you get them
days
lined
that's
up? Yeah,
more busy.
okay,
there's some seasonality, some of the package
Yep.
business,
yeah,
Yeah, we've been particularly busy from September through.
sure.
baking season.
If you
Mhm.
will,
Right.
first of the year.
The other thing, I don't think you can, but are you anticipating any additional tree cutting? My best estimate would be,
Hope
with
so.
this complete row of trees gone, I can now see everything you can do. Down there, see through your windows and see what's going on.
And they can yours too.
Say again?
They can see through yours now too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, since we have all the assessors here, at some time in the future,
Tree
when
cutting
it's
looks good.
applicable, I will be asking the assessors to review my property, given that whilst this was virtually all hidden beforehand, I can now see everything, as you point out, they can now see everything on my side. I think it's going to make my property considerably harder to sell and almost certainly drop the asking price on it, because it is now very obviously in a commercial property. Previously it wasn't. So, okay, that was the 3 things, the trailers,
That's their
the
purview.
amount of oil, and the trees. You're looking puzzled.
I mean, it is what it is. You bought your house where it was, the building was there, the trees came down. I think it looks fantastic. It opens it up, it makes it safer.
Have you ever driven past this slowly and really looked?
I live at the Nemco Way, so I
I know you
drive
do.
by it daily, trust me.
They clear cut it, there's no
Yes.
sign of any landscaping, it's just raw wood, shavings, spindle wood and so on.
And Dan, if I recall, you said that there was gonna be some landscaping and stuff
Yes.
done when the project was completed in
Well,
the spring.
I can respond to that. We're in the process of doing some landscaping. I was here Tuesday of last week, meeting with the Conservation Commission, because there was some question of a waterway there and how we were going to negotiate that. So
Yes,
we
there's a
needed to-
waterway from across the road.
So we needed to get that squared away before we performed any other operations in that area.
Right. Okay, well, I don't quite agree with you, of course, I mean, I don't
I'm shocked at
think
that,
it,
but
yeah, I imagine you are. I don't think it makes it look any better at all, and to me it makes it look considerably worse. So, I just love looking out at those trailers now instead of the trees. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay. So we had a motion and seconded, do we, we're still, okay? All right, so motion was made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
How's the construction going, guys? Moving along?
Yeah, it's on schedule.
Yeah, you guys have been busting right. I saw them out there in the pouring rain the other day, working away.
Yeah, they're gonna work through just after Thanksgiving, and then
Genesis.
Break
then we're gonna break for the winter.
Oh, yeah, for the frost, yeah.
Yeah, it's too difficult to operate as
Sure.
well as do construction.
Yep, that looks good.
I love spaniel oil.
Well, we're happy to hear that.
The offices moved over to the building next door, is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the main office and then some of the operations folks are gonna
Mhm.
kind of move up in the old office areas.
Yeah, cool.
Do you
We've got
want,
some more jobs,
do you want the
Good.
original and then I'll keep a copy, or how do you want to do this?
whatever's easiest for you.
You know what, I'll make a copy of
I
this.
have another here if it's,
Okay.
you wanna sign.
Yeah, actually, I think they need a
Oh, the
stamp
stamp,
from
okay.
us, so
Yep,
I'll make
that's
a
fine.
copy of this one.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Where's the next
Make a
one?
motion to close the hearing?
second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
No, it's fine.
Okay, this public hearing is
Thank you.
closed.
Let me just
All
find the
right.
reading for the second one, give me a second.
Yep.
16. Ready to go?
Ready when you are.
All right, second public hearing, and that was dated for what time was that? I'm good, right? 7:15.
Yep.
Town of Ayer Board of Selectmen, public hearing notice. The Board of Selectmen will be conducting a public hearing on Tuesday, November 17th, 2015, at 7:15 PM in the first floor meeting room at the Ayer Town Hall, 1 Main Street, Ayer, Massachusetts, 01432, regarding the town's FY 2016 tax classification. At the public hearing, the Ayer Board of Assessors shall provide information, data relevant to making a decision on allocating the tax burden, including fiscal effect on available alternatives. Janice L. Livingston, Chairman, Gary J. Luca, Vice Chairman, Christopher R. Hillman, Clerk. Posted October 30th, 2015, and again, November 6th, 2015.
All right. Now we get to the fun stuff, right?
Do you want me to put this on?
Madam Chair, just for the record, the Air Board of Assessors are in open session and have posted with the town clerk for tonight's meeting.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good evening.
Hi, guys.
Good evening. Long time no
Nice.
see.
I know, we only see you once a year. You could visit more often.
I think you know this by now, but maybe you don't, just in case not. I'm Dennis Callahan, current chairman.
Dennis.
Far left, Paul Bresnahan, member, Eddie Cornelia, and to my left is Tom Hogan, the assessing administrator. So we will turn the proceedings over to him immediately.
Tom, good job on the bond stuff.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Real good.
Before we begin, let me apologize for my informal attire.
I'm jealous.
It happened.
I was this close to showing up in my work clothes, so so you look great.
I would have minded my warm slippers. My feet are cold.
What's that? Yeah, you have an extra one, that'd be great. Are we using the Mondo?
Do you want that?
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, switch it.
I'm gonna
You gonna go
give
with
the
mouse?
mouse a shot.
All
I
right.
need my space. Good evening, everybody. The purpose of tonight's public hearing is to record the selectmen's vote on 4 classification options, each one having the potential to impact Ayer's fiscal year 2016 tax rates. The 4 options are the residential exemption, open space discount, residential exemption, small commercial exemption, and adoption of a residential factor. The town has never adopted any of the first 3 options that I'll talk about, but the board, by statute, is required to apprise you of their availability on an annual basis. So I'll briefly go through the first 3 options, and then we'll go into a more substantive discussion of the residential factor. At the conclusion of tonight's hearing, you'll be asked to sign a form called a State Form LA-5, on which your votes will be recorded. And then the signed LA-5 will be submitted to the Department of Revenue to initiate the FY16 tax rate certification process. So we're sort of at the end of the road in what we do on an annual basis. Lisa Gabriel has already prepared the tax recapitulation documents. They're ready to go into Boston. The only thing left to do is record your votes tonight and submit that, and then we begin the process of preparing FY16 third quarter tax bills. I prepared a packet sort of walkthrough and hopefully help explain the options to you. Please stop me at any point during the presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the board or from people in the audience if they need some clarification. I guess I'll just get started. I'm going to be simulcasting, so it'll take me a minute to get used to it, I'm sure. But I'll be all right. Option number one is called the open space discount. Before I get going, it's important to keep in mind that none of these options do anything to reduce the amount of property taxes the town of Ayer is going to collect for FY16. All they do is redistribute the tax burden between property owners who would qualify for one of these particular exemptions and property owners who would not. Option one is called the open space discount. Open space is defined as land maintained in an open or natural condition which contributes significantly to the benefit and enjoyment of the public. The purpose of this option was to encourage the preservation of a community's open space, and this is done by reducing open space taxes and increasing taxes on other non-qualifying residential property owners. Land excluded from the open space definition is land taxable under the provisions of chapter land. That's chapter 61A, agricultural land, 61 forest land, and 61B recreational land, or land under a permanent conservation restriction or land held for the production of income. Annually at the tax classification hearing, the Selectmen may discount up to 25% of the open space percentage share of the tax levy. Application to the open space discount increases the residential tax rate while creating a new, lower open space tax rate. Currently, the town of Bedford is the only community in Massachusetts that has adopted an open space discount. So the Board of Assessors would advise you this evening not to choose to adopt that particular option.
Yes.
Make a motion, the town of Ayer not to adopt the open space provision as outlined by the assessor.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Option number two is called, excuse me. Option number two is called the residential exemption. And the residential exemption is designed to provide a measure of tax relief to owner occupants of residential property by increasing the tax burden on other non-qualifying residential property owners. The residential exemption is a lump sum valuation exemption that is calculated as percentage of the average residential valuation. For example, if the average residential value were $200,000 and they were to adopt a 10% residential exemption, qualifying properties would have their assessed valuations reduced by $20,000. The exemption is subtracted from the assessed value of eligible parcels. Properties excluded from receiving the residential exemption would be accessory land and seasonal homes. Nantucket, Tisbury, and Barnstable have all adopted a residential exemption as a way of shifting some of the costs away from the year-round owners onto the second home owners. Non-owner occupied residential property owners would not qualify for this. That is investor-owned property. Boston, Brookline, and Cambridge have all adopted a residential exemption as a way to shift some of that tax burden onto investor-owned property owners. Annually at the tax classification hearing, the Selectmen can adopt a discount of up to 20% of the average residential value. And application of the residential exemption will decrease taxes on most, but not all, qualifying residential properties by shifting the tax burden to other non-qualifying residential property owners. Now since most people who own residential property in town and occupy it, and they consider it their principal domicile, so, and we're not, we don't have a lot of investor-owned residential properties, so based upon that, the Board of Assessors would advise that you not adopt the residential exemption this year.
Chris?
I make a motion to not adopt the residential exemption as outlined by the town assessor.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Thank you. Option number 3 is called the small commercial exemption, and this has been adopted by 10 communities in Massachusetts as of FY15. This exemption is designed to provide a measure of, excuse me. It's okay. Here we go. Thank you. This exemption is designed to provide a measure of property tax relief to some small business owners by increasing taxes on other non-qualifying commercial and industrial property owners. There's a lump sum valuation exemption calculated as a percentage of the total valuation. So if you were to adopt a 10% small commercial exemption this evening, if a property owner had a $400,000 value and a 10% exemption, $40,000 of that would be exempt from taxes, and they had a $900,000 valuation, obviously $90,000 of that would be exempt. To qualify, eligible properties must be included on a list provided annually to the assessors by the Division of Labor and Workforce Development. Additionally, qualifying properties must have a valuation of less than $1 million, excuse me, and an average annual employment of 10 or fewer people. Application of this exemption reduces taxes on some properties that house small businesses while increasing taxes on other non-qualifying property. Annually at the classification hearing, the Selectmen may adopt an exemption of up to 10% of the value of eligible parcels. An application of this exemption increases the commercial industrial tax rate. The residential and personal property tax rates remain unchanged, so application of this exemption will result in having 3 tax rates instead of 2. I know you had some questions about this exemption at last year's classification hearing, so I included another page. We dug a little deeper into the did a little more research on the small commercial exemption to give you some better numbers on it than we did last year. We got the list from DL, Division of Labor and Workforce Development, and we went through it, and this is sort of a summary of what we came up with. Overall, we have 323 commercial and industrial parcel accounts in the town of Ayer. And we have 202 commercial parcels with a valuation of $1 million or less, which is one of the criteria for this exemption. We went through the list and identified only 47 eligible parcels, 47 small businesses that would qualify for this exemption. And if you were to adopt a 10% small commercial exemption and apply it to these 47 accounts, the reduction in valuation, the exempted valuation would be $1,635,900. And if you had adopted this exemption at last year's classification hearing, commercial industrial tax rate would have been $30.17 per $1,000 of value, not $29.97 per $1,000 of value. So that's sort of the impact that it would have had on the tax rate. So what's happening really is 47 people receiving an exemption, and the remaining property owners paying higher property taxes than they otherwise would without this exemption. And what we found with the list, it was incomplete. It was difficult to identify locations of the properties. It included a lot of Devon's properties. It included a lot of home businesses. And I was surprised because there were a lot of properties that, that I know are small businesses, obviously, that weren't included on the list. And the Board of Assessors has limited ability to add accounts to the list, very limited ability, but generally speaking, the list is the list, and if you adopt it, we're required to apply it to properties on the list. So it seemed to us that the application of this wasn't really broad-based enough to impact enough properties. And again, the central premise is, taxes on small businesses are high, and consequently, taxes on larger businesses or other small businesses that don't qualify could potentially subsidize those 47 taxpayers, which I don't know if that's a reality also. So, based upon the research that we did, the Board of Assessors would advise that you not adopt a small commercial exemption this year.
So I know you had some questions on this last year.
I did, but judging by the list and it's shifting it to, I think Tom's answered my questions.
Yeah.
I thought it might help alleviate some of the smaller landscapers,
Right.
auto body shops, stuff like that, but I don't think it's gonna do that to the degree that we thought it would. Unfortunately, when we give someone a discount, we shift it to, give me a discount, then it gets shifted to Janice, and then, how it goes down the line, so I don't think this is anything that benefits anybody, in my opinion.
That was good information.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys looking into it for us.
You're welcome.
Janice?
Yeah.
I make a motion that the town not adopt the small commercial exemption as outlined by the town assessor.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Thank you. The remainder of the packet is information that's that we're going to use to understand the residential factor. Excuse me. First thing I'd like to talk about is what's happening value-wise in there this year, and these are the valuation percentage, historical valuation percentages from FY 2011 through 2016. And if you focus on the change to 2015, 2016, last year 63% of the total taxable value of Ayer was in the residential class, and this year it's up to 64.5. And conversely, last year, the commercial and industrial and personal property valuation, they're all grouped together, the same tax rate, so I'm going to refer to them as CIP going forward. Last year, they were 36.7% of the total value of the town, and this year they've slipped to 35.5% of the total valuation of the town. So what's happening is we're still getting unprecedented residential growth in town on an annual basis. And what is also happening is that the residential real estate market is really coming back now. And it's not just new construction, it's condominiums, and it's homes in the older homes in the more established neighborhoods. We're seeing sale prices that are statistically getting too far away from our assessments. So Consequently, because we're required to maintain the market value standard on an annual basis, we've made the appropriate adjustment to residential valuation. So that increase in residential value is a combination of a bump in value and new construction, continued strong new construction. But anytime there's a shift in the percentages like that, it causes issues with tax classification. If one slice of the valuation pie, the residential class, increases at a greater percentage than the CIP slice of the pie, then the tax burden will shift to the residential taxpayers, and then the selectmen have to decide whether to live with that shift or make an appropriate adjustment to equalize the increases. So, on the second page, on the next page that I have for you, I have the historical levy percentages for Ayer from 2011 through 2016. We talked about in FY15 the residential taxpayers making up 63.3% of the total valuation of the town. But if you look at the bottom blue line there, in 2015 they assumed only 46% of the tax levy. And conversely, even though in FY15 CIP property owners represented 36.7% of the valuation of the town, they paid 54% of the tax levy. And that's the power of classification. If we had one tax rate and residential property owners were 63.3% of the total value, they would pay 63.3% of the levy. But classification allows cities and towns to increase the CIP share of the levy over and above their percentages of proportion of the total valuation pie. So that's historically what we've done. And if you look at the bottom axis there, I have 2011, I have 1.55, 2012, 150, and last year was 1.48. You can see these percentages have remained pretty consistent since 2011, and this consistency has been maintained by the Board of Selectmen adopting a commercial CIP shift percentage annually to sort of equalize the increases in the rate, in tax bills. If you remember, with the soft real estate market prior years and residential values falling, it allowed the town to decrease that commercial, industrial, and personal shift factor. It started at 1.55 in 2011, and as of last year, we're at 1.48. But what's happened this year is we've picked up more residential value in relation to CIP, and if you apply that same 1.48 factor to the FY16 percentages, you can see that the residential share of the tax burden shoots up from 46 to 47.5% of the total, and the commercial, industrial, and personal property percentages actually decrease. So, any questions about that graph? Or
No, I think I get it.
I think it'll become more clearer as we go through it, but I can always come back to it
This
also.
has all to, Chair, this has all to do a lot with growth too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what we've talked about it in past years, when the residential market comes back, what it does is it in most instances, probably every instance, it will outpace the growth in the commercial industrial market. And consequently, the tax burden will shift to residential taxpayers. And classification, as you increase that shift factor, it evens out the increases between the two classes of property. And when residential values are falling, you can come up the other way to sort of smooth things out. So the selectmen have been using this as an effective tool to sort of equalize the percentages since 2011. And again, it's a decision you're going to have to make tonight about,
Right.
do you want to do the 1.48 that you did in 2015, or would another shift percentage be more appropriate given the valuations for this current fiscal year? So
So we made it through the last bunch of changes pretty good. We weathered it pretty good. The decrease and then the increase.
oh, sure,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was prudent to reduce that shift factor when the opportunity was there, because when the market comes back, what you've done, you've given yourself more space to equalize things down. If you sat at 155 since 2011, it would cause you problems when the residential real estate market really comes back, so.
Okay.
There are two components to a tax rate. There's the actual tax levy, which is set by the town's budgetary decisions and town meeting, and then there's the assessed valuations, which is the responsibility of the Board of Assessors, and the assessed valuations obviously are used as a way for the equitable dispersion of the tax levy, and that's sort of my job and the job of the three gentlemen at the table with me. But for FY16, by statute, values are as of January 1, 2015. So calendar year 2014 market information serves as the basis for this year's valuations. Overall, the total taxable value of the town is up about 3% over last year. But it's not a 3% for everybody. The residential valuation's up about 5%. Commercial industrial is up about 1.2%, and personal property is actually down almost 4%. Personal property is utility valuation. It could be machinery, inventory. It's sort of a business tax, and it tends to fluctuate from year to year more than obviously residential or commercial valuation.
With that solar field, did they get taxed?
I'm not billing any solar field.
No, the one that they're putting in.
Oh, the one on
National
Grant.
Grid. Yeah.
Yeah, when it's in, yeah, it'll be
Taxed.
It'll be taxed. Yeah, it'll be personal property valuation, and it'll be growth valuation
Okay.
for this tax year.
Heavily.
I hope so.
In any event, the total taxable value of the town is up 3%. The average single-family home went from $272,415 to $281,400 in FY16. That's an increase of 3.3%. So, like I said, the residential market's starting to look real strong, and it looks even better looking forward to next year. I also do this every year, include this slide. I think it's useful in understanding how the levy is determined every year. In Massachusetts, by statute, the tax levy limit is calculated on an annual basis for all 351 communities. You start with the previous year's levy limit, which is $19.4 million. You increase it 2.5% under the requirements of Proposition 2.5. We had $446,710 in new growth, almost $22.6 million in new valuation. That's added to the levy limit annually. Last year we had $963,000. And a lot of that, if you remember, was personal property valuation. We had an unusual spike in personal property valuation. That's sort of we didn't get this year, but 446,710 is a pretty solid number for the town of Ayer. You also add in an allowance for debt exclusions. These are the debt service on capital projects, the library, police station, fire station, and so forth. And you add all those up, and you get the maximum tax levy for this particular fiscal year, which is 2 million. Last year's tax levy was 21.2 million. Excuse me, let me back up, I'm sorry. The maximum tax levy is 22.2 million, but our actual FY16 tax levy, this year's tax levy, is projected to be 21.2 million, which will give us $961,867 in excess levy capacity, which means we could, you could levy property taxes, the town could choose to levy property taxes in an amount about $1 million more than they're levying now without having to go in an override. It's sort of a rainy day fund, if you like, or a bank account. If there's a cut in state funding or an unanticipated problem, there's room there to raise money without having to go to an override. And Gary talked earlier about the bond meeting. That was one of the things that they were pleased to hear, was the fact that the town had almost $1 million in excess levy capacity. Last year's tax levy was $20.6 million, so the increase in the levy this year is 3.5%, which is, I think, pretty typical for the town of Ayer. So, any questions?
No, just comment. So actually, we didn't increase by 2.5% last year because we increased less, because we used less than the levy.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the levy goes up 3.5%, you've obviously increased over 2.5%, but under the statute, your levy is nowhere near as high as it could be. You have excess room to levy property taxes.
Okay.
I used to have a slide that showed the uniform, a single tax rate calculation every year. I think I took it out, but I kind of put it back because I think it's helpful. We talked about the value, we talked about the levy. If you divide the tax levy into the total taxable value of the town and multiply it by 1,000, you'll get the town's uniform or single tax rate. So if Ayer had one tax rate for FY16, it would be $20.35. Last year's uniform tax rate was $20.25, so the uniform rate itself's only gone up 0.5%. And if you think about it, all things being equal, if the levy's the same and the total taxable valuation of the town increases 3%, the tax rate will drop 3%. But the levy increased 3.5%, so consequently you're going to see a 0.5% increase in the uniform rate. It kind of all balances out. But we don't have a uniform rate. We have a classified rate, a lower rate for residential and a higher rate for CIP property owners. And we achieve that, or that is achieved by adopting a residential factor of other than 1 and splitting the rate and making the appropriate determination on the split every year. On this slide, I'd just like to refresh all of our memories on what happened at last year's tax classification hearing. There's the total value of the town for last year, a little over $1 billion. As we talked about, we were 63.3% residential, 36.7% CIP. The Selectmen adopted a residential factor of 0.721776. The CIP shift factor, that's used to determine the split in the rates. You don't adopt the shift factor, you adopt the residential factor, and the way the math works, it's kind of derivative of the shift factor. So if you took 1.48 and multiplied it times the single tax rate of 2025, you would get the commercial rate of 29.97. And conversely, if you took the residential factor of 0.721776 and applied it to $20.25, you'd get the $14.62 residential tax rate. So they're sort of two sides of the same coin, but it is the residential factor that you vote on, not the shift factor. So that's what was done at last year's tax classification hearing. And this is the final page of our presentation. This is the, not all of them, but sort of a summary of the town's tax rate options for FY16. If you look at the top line, if you would adopt the residential factor based upon a shift of 1, you'll get the uniform tax rate of $20.35, and if you read across, you'll get huge increases in the average residential bill and huge drops, obviously, in the average commercial industrial bill. I think I did it at 5% increments up to 1.45, and then I did the rates 1.46 shift, 1.47. I highlighted 1.48 because that's the shift percentage that the Board of Assessors voted last year. But you can see, because we have the tax burden shifting onto residential taxpayers, if you would adopt a residential factor based upon a 1.48 shift this year, you'll see disproportionate increases in the average residential bill as opposed to the average commercial industrial valuation. You'll see a $233 increase in the average residential bill and a 5.8% increase over the previous year, and just a 1.1% increase on the average commercial industrial bill. Last year, CIP property owners assumed 54% of the tax levy, but you can see at 1.48, they'd only assume 52.5 this year. And if they're only assuming 52.5, the rest is going to be picked up by the residential taxpayers, and consequently you're getting that disproportionate increase. So what the selectmen can consider this evening is whether or not to adopt a residential factor on a based upon a shift percentage of over 1.48. And you can see as you go from 1.48 to 1.50 and you look at the changes in the average bills, you can see that they start to equalize as you come down the grid. What's interesting about this year is last few years, we were only allowed to shift up to 1.50, but because of the increase in residential value and the way the Chapter 200 formula works, we were able to shift up to 1.75, which is the maximum allowable by statute. And obviously, 1.75 would be the lowest residential tax rate that we can have by statute, and conversely, the highest CIP rate we could have by statute, and you would see huge drops in residential bills and huge increases in commercial bills. So, the only other thing that I would mention is if you wanted to maintain the allocation between the residential and CIP property owners that you had last year, you're kind of looking in this 1.51, 1.52 range. Will it get you the 54, 46 area? Or you could choose to leave it where it is, or you could move it up the ladder. The decision is yours this evening. So, any questions about the table?
So Tom, last year we were at 5446, right?
Correct.
And that same CIP for 16
If you,
comes 52 and a half, 47 now.
right, right. What's really happening is, you know, most commercial industrial values haven't changed, and if the rate goes from 29.97 to 30.11, you're going to see nominal increases in most CI bills, and essentially, most of the increase in the levy is going to fall on residential taxpayers. So, again, you have the option of equalizing those changes in bills to however you see it as being equitable.
So 1.48 doesn't actually mean the same every year.
It does not.
Right. And you think a lot of this year is because of the additional valuation in the residential property?
Yeah, this is the residential appreciation of residential property values. So it's going to continue. We had one year, I forget what year it was, maybe Mr. Keneally remembers. I think we were up maybe 17% or something on the average single family. We had one, you know, it was, you know, when that starts happening, that's, you know, if you remember, cities and towns went to Boston to get that shift of percentage moved down to 2 to give them additional room, but
Right.
and then legislation came later to bring it back up to 1.75 max. So.
Well, I can see a more equitable shift, not dollar-wise, but percentage-wise. Like 1.51.
I was just gonna say, I'm in the
Yeah.
1.51, 1.52 neighborhood myself, just going back and forth.
1.51 and a half, but that's not up there. Can you figure that out, Tom?
I can, but I'd have to go back to my office.
You know, I understand the extra valuation kind of throws it for a loop.
Right, but like I explained earlier, when residential values were falling and commercial industrial were flat, you know, you were coming the other way to, you know, because the tax was shifting on to CIP owners,
Right.
and then you were coming up the ladder to sort of ease their burden a little bit, so.
Anybody from the audience have anything, or? Okay.
Why an audience this year?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I think for all the infrastructure improvements and all we've done, I think that the 1.51, 1.52 is a pretty fair tax increase over 12 months.
Yeah.
Based on the commercial rate obviously going up. But I also will add that as a business owner, it's, for the commercial people, it's hard for me to go, let's say I work in a factory and tell my boss, well, my taxes went up, I need a raise. Business owners can add 10 cents to a beer or 3 cents to a product. And I know it trickles down to all of us, but I mean, I do believe in the split tax rate. I also want to treat our businesses fairly too, but I think that is a pretty reasonable sum in that range, 1.52, in my opinion. I mean, I'd love to see it where taxes went down one year, but
Well, cut the budget.
Does the board have a recommendation or any, you know, feedback in terms of, I know you're not supposed to, but I mean,
The way I'm looking at it is you can move down that grid and shift the tax to the CIP people without a little bit without equalizing it completely. I'm just looking at 1.50. You would see. I hope I'm reading this right. It's mine. It looks like 1.51, looks like 1.51 is 3% across the board, basically. And
Right.
at 1.50, it's 4.3 and 2.4. It's not exactly the same percentages, but it seems a lot more fair, obviously, than sitting at 1.48, so. I guess I'm just trying to make the point that, you're not obligated to make it 50-50 every year in terms of the increase. I mean,
Right.
I know in the past, you've worked pretty hard to sort of ease the burden of the commercial taxpayers also by being fair with the shift percentage, so, it looks like the 148 doesn't work when
Right.
applied to this year's valuations, obviously, but how far down you want to go, I guess we'll have to leave it up to the Board of Selectmen.
I think that 1.51, Chris, is kind of on par with
Yeah, because
what it was 2 years ago.
you're adding, what, $31 to your residential rate, but you're dropping your commercial rate by almost $200, right? If I'm looking at that correctly.
May I make one more point?
Between 1.52 and 51.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't come to Selectmen's
No.
meeting.
Once a year,
Jump in and
Tom,
not
once
to,
a year.
yeah.
You're welcome anytime.
I used an average for the residential, which is, pretty typical. Everyone understands averages. And I did use an average for the CIP, which is a big number. It's like $830,000, only because our CIP valuations run from, $50 million down to $1,100. So while the average is a nice number for the residential comparison, on the commercial, it gets a little fuzzy. So I guess my point to the board is I'd focus on the percent change when it comes to the CIP rather than the dollar change, because the dollar change is going to look huge because it's going to be applied to a 800,000 plus valuation. And I believe our median commercial industrial valuation is only like $247,000 or $249,500, I think it is. So it's a lot less than the average, but people understand averages, so I like to use them when it comes to residential property. And I don't like to mix and match on the same slide, so. So I guess my point is don't get caught up on the dollar change on CIP bills.
So we have 3.4% for residential and 3.1 for commercial.
At the 151.
At the 151, yes. I'd be okay with the 1.52 as well.
Yeah, the 1.52 looks good.
What do you think, Gary?
I prefer the 1.51, but I go along with the 1.52. I'm just looking at equal percentages previously.
Yeah. We, and the percentage last year was, I think the last 2 years, we've kept it pretty close to even on the increase, if I recall.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even, it's relative, I guess.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you're assessed at
Yeah.
$10 million or 200,000, it does make a difference. Now, now you guys are in the midst of reassessing everything now, or has that been completed?
Well, we're required to inspect each and every property in town at least once every 9 years.
Yeah.
And we contract with a company to do that. And they'll go out the existing property record information. A lot of people at home have probably met the inspector, and they just verify the information. They're not making valuation judgments when they're out there, they're just confirming that.
No, I remember when they came to my house a few years ago. No,
Yeah.
nothing's changed outside, have you done, you know?
Yeah, we lose a
Yeah.
lot of sheds, finished basements,
Yeah.
It's, the Department of Revenue likes to see a date within 9 years on all property, and again, that's just, I would call that more of a maintenance function. Our revaluation, we have to do values every year, and demonstrate to the DOR that we're maintaining the market value standard. And every third year, we undergo a revaluation, which is different than what you're talking about. So FY17, we're going to be audited by the state. They're going to be out here reviewing our practices and procedures relative to assessment administration, and
Sounds like fun.
yeah, you get used to it, I guess. But yeah, that's the big revaluation. But it's not such a big deal anymore because, again, we're doing values every year, and so when a revaluation year is a little more intense in terms of the auditing process, but it's essentially it's the same process for us in determining updated valuations. So.
Feel comfortable with the 1.52?
Yeah, I was just gonna make a motion, but just didn't know if you had anything else to add, or Janice.
No, just, Tom, you need a residential factor, right, not the CIP shift?
Correct. It's the
For the
second
motion.
column in A that would,
Get that, Chris?
Sorry, the glare of it,
So it would be .714321.
okay. Janice?
Yes.
I will make a motion to adopt the estimated tax rates for 2016 for a residential factor of .714321.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Thank you for your hard work, gentlemen.
Yeah, one more.
Now we have to do commercial first.
We'll do one
Which
more,
one's
don't
that?
we?
signatures.
Do we need another vote?
No, that shifts everything.
It shifts
Oh,
everything,
okay,
I see,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, it's got the residential factor, the right one, right?
I know.
Okay. I just had two in the motion last year, so that's all.
All that,
Oh, okay.
all that
I
nervousness
just
you
see
had.
that. You don't need that?
Nope.
No.
I have to pull out my book this year.
Make a
Put
motion
language in
to
there.
close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye. Signing this?
She handed it to me, I gave it to you.
Are all three signing it or
Yeah,
just one?
I think it's all
majority of
us,
the board
yeah.
needs to sign it, yep.
Need crickets.
You want us to sign down here?
I
Yeah,
got a copy
we
here.
don't have a little postie saying sign here. We don't know what to do. If somebody didn't put a little sticky, we get lost.
This is much more complicated than department head meetings in here, so. Yeah, on the
Can you
left.
make them a little bit more complicated?
You don't want
On the left?
Oh, my left.
You want down here?
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I didn't know when the sound was way I handed it to you.
This is
So we
paper. I'm
need to
like,
adopt-
now what do I do with it?
Adopt a residential factor of .714321.
Right.
Yeah.
Said.
I'll hang on to it if you want.
I can get it in the morning.
Yeah, that's fine. I won't.
Just one?
Trust you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what, Tom? You can have it. You can see it.
See you again next year.
It's not even on 32 days now. Really?
Oh, wow.
Why? 31? Yeah.
Mr. Bresnahan, nice to see you, sir.
Thanks again, Tom.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Tom, have a good night. Safe drive home.
This is the quietest tax classification hearing we've had in a couple of years.
We did him in a couple of years ago.
You get nobody at the press.
Oh, that's right.
I thought she was supposed to be back. She was hurt. She was out on, she was out sick for a few weeks.
I got nothing. All right, Chief Pedrazi.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
How are you?
Good. All right, so you have a FEMA reimbursement grant contract acceptance, right?
Yes, this is from last year's snowstorm, the January snowstorm, and the amount of the damages that the town is gonna be able to recover in this contract is $67,966.10, and that is for the snow plow and debris removal that was done. There was a lot of work done by the DPW, putting together the numbers for the snow plowing, and my secretary putting together a lot of the stuff. And both these reimbursements are a lot of work, but in the end, they're worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
There's several documents for Janice to sign.
Yeah, I heard.
Every one of those little markers there needs a signature, and some of it's got to be notarized, so I would recommend not signing it tonight. Just get the approval and then sign it later. There was also a contract that came through a couple of weeks ago that was a smaller one for the snow removal on the roof of the police station, and it amounted to about $3,400 and something that'll be coming back. I could sign all that one myself. So that
So you need a motion on
went
this?
through. I would take a motion to approve signature by the chair.
Excuse.
You got it, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve FEMA reimbursement for the town of Ayer, FEMA-4214-DR-MA for January 26th to 28th, 2015 snowstorm.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Signature by the chair. Oops.
I got it.
All right.
Okay, next thing, National Grid made a donation to the fire department for the local safe fund. They normally donate $1,000 a year, and they've been doing this since they've been in down there. And we put it in a local safe account to help defray the costs of the public education in the schools. We recently found out that we had to bring donations to the Board of Selectmen to be approved.
Right.
We found out when we got the F&T Willow Trust donation. So this year is their 25th anniversary down there, so they wanted to do something a little more, so they donated $2,500 to the fire department for the local safe, and they also donated $2,500 to Loaves and Fishes.
Oh, nice.
So they had a little ceremony down there, and we went down and they took a picture of us with the big check, which I haven't seen yet anywhere. But
Oh, good.
yeah,
That's
it's
really
a good thing. They've been a good partner for the fire department. When they moved into town, they bought us our first real set of air packs that we had as a betterment when they came
This
into
is
town.
up by my place?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, the Hydro-Quebec
Yep.
HVDC plant.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw in the paper today that Charlie Baker is trying to approve some more of that hydropower
Yeah.
to come down. And there may be, maybe an expansion down there. I don't know.
Nice.
But anyway, it's a great thing. They've been a great partner.
for us over the years.
They're a good neighbor,
I'd like to
too.
publicly say thank you to them for supporting us.
Yeah. Nice. Yes, Gary?
So you need a motion
Yeah,
to accept?
yeah.
Motion to accept gift of $2,500 for the SAFE program and Ayer from, is it National Grid?
National Grid.
From National Grid.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Those are two good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw the other one.
Yeah, and that was the bad thing.
Yeah.
The two good ones out of the way first. I do.
Okay.
I have two originals.
What you do to the truck?
Well, the truck gets gone over every year by a certified company.
Remember last year was the ladder, the little
Independent.
ding in the ladder?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, that was crazy. I still can't get over that. I really can't. Some of this stuff floors me, the amount of money that it costs.
Yeah.
This
I know, I
repair-
nearly fell over. I had to read it a couple times.
Yeah. This repair is on a hydraulic swivel seal that, I mean, it's been something that's been on the radar, and we've been kind of avoiding it. They've been saying, well, you know, it really needs to be done, but, you know, maybe next year, maybe next year.
It weeps a
And this is
little
the-
oil.
And this is the third year of that, and they put it as a number 2 defect on the report, so the ladder can't be certified until it's fixed. It doesn't take the ladder out of service, but you have to get it fixed, and then they'll certify it. And, you know, if it's not certified and somebody gets hurt on it,
Yeah.
the town's gonna have a huge liability. So it really needs to be done. This truck is a 20-year-old, gonna be 20 years old, and I'm going to capital planning to see if we can refurb the truck like we did on engine 4 a couple of years ago. They had this, I got a budget letter from the company that does the rehabs, and they had this same thing listed as an option for $25,000, so this is actually a little less than what it would have been in a rehab. And, you know, it was listed as an option on the rehab, on the budget letter, but it, in parentheses, it said needs to be done. So I don't know why they didn't put it right in the, you know, in the thing. I think they were afraid the price was gonna be too high. But-
What happens in the meantime? I'm assuming the truck's down for...
The truck's down there, and there was 2 other things that needed to be fixed, which I have in my budget. One of the lift cylinders needed to be replaced, and some hydraulic hoses were leaking that needed to be changed. So the truck's down there now. There's a 2-week waiting period on parts for this. For the, you know, once I didn't tell them to do anything, because obviously I don't have the money in my budget to do
Sure.
it, so I'm waiting to get the approval before I go ahead and tell them to order the parts. So we'll actually get the truck back with the other 2 things fixed, and then it'll have to go down there again and get this done.
Just mutual aid for ladders, is that
Yep.
doesn't work? Yeah, just work with other towns.
Yeah, I mean, we can use the ladder, it's just not, as long as we're getting it fixed,
Yeah.
it's good.
Well, not when it's an
But
Attleboro.
it's, yeah, not when it's an Attleboro, right? Exactly. So we, I mean, we have ladders around us.
Sure.
Devon's got a ladder, Shirley's got
Yep.
a ladder, Groton's got a ladder.
Mhm.
Can I just have one copy of that?
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't have a copy of it, Gary, if you want to read it.
Yeah. Make a motion to approve reserve fund transfer for the Air Fire Department out of Fire Department Services, account number 01220-52000, in the amount of $22,983.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair says aye.
Thank you very much. Yep. Can we get the originals, that way I can have one too?
Today, did,
66,
Six.
67, 966.
Yeah. And 10 cents. Don't forget the 10 cents.
How many hours did that take?
Oh my God, you have no idea. Yeah, I mean.
Just, I do rebates for like AC equipment,
There's
and it literally
paperwork
takes
like-
a
there's
day.
paperwork like that.
Yeah,
It takes
and I
way
can
longer.
imagine what it's like
It
for
takes way
something like
longer
that.
than a day.
Yeah.
Well, just the documents that have to be signed now. And you have to be very careful when you sign those, because if one of them's done wrong, it stops the whole
Yeah.
process. It's just, it's crazy.
worth it.
You know, it's oh yeah, it's absolutely worth it. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. But it just takes months and months and months to
Sure.
get this stuff done. We were the first ones that got our paperwork in for the thing. And I think we're the last ones to get our stuff back. Everybody else I was talking to, oh, we got that a month ago. You know, it's like, there's no
Yeah.
rhyme or reason to anything that happens down there.
Great.
Yeah, well, they just bring yours, they put it there, and they put everything else on top of it. so
Yeah,
we get to-
exactly. We should go last.
Right from the top down.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. Everybody you talk to that comes out to do these assessments and stuff, they all tell you something different. There's no
Yeah.
cohesion to anything.
Now, is this stuff yearly they check?
Yes, the
The
ladder.
certified?
Yeah, after it's over a certain number of years old, it's done yearly. It used to be done every 5 years, like at the 5-year mark, 10-year mark, 15-year mark, and then it's every year.
So is there any way that we can have a crystal ball and see, like, next year, what you may need?
I wish we did have.
No?
There isn't,
That you
no,
could
but
put in the
if,
budget?
if we do, no, there isn't.
Okay.
And that's what, they put money in my budget last year more than what was in that services line item.
Yeah.
But it's still, I had to get a reserve fund transfer last year for the ladder.
Yeah.
And that line item, that one line item came out exactly right for the rest of the year. I know they don't like to do these this time of the year, they like to wait till the end, but I'm gonna need it.
Right.
I only get 27,000 left in there, and I just got a $4,000 bill for my maintenance on my
Right.
computers.
Right.
So, it's gone,
Stuff happens.
yeah.
It's a bad timing too for it when they come out. I mean, if they could do it before, Springtown meeting or something like, along that lines,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's,
So hopefully, if the ladder gets through capital planning for the rehab, and, you have to go out to bid and everything to get it done, it's a big process. That should be a few years where nothing breaks. They go over that thing with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
And, basically, anything that can break is replaced. So, we've had very good luck with engine two, it's been almost 2 years now.
Yeah, it looks good, too.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
It looks like a brand new truck still, and,
Mhm.
it runs like one.
my boys liked it.
Yeah, it's
They
very
climbed
nice.
all over it.
They do a great job at this place. But
Yeah.
You pay for it, but it's worth it in the long run. To replace that truck is between $900,000 and $1 million to replace that truck.
That's a ladder? Yeah.
Yeah, they're so expensive, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief.
Still getting to the finance committee.
They're not as nice as we are.
Oh, yes, they are.
Some of them.
Good night. All right, Robert.
Madam Chair, members of the board, just a couple of highlights on the administrative update. The 2016 license renewals, thanks to Ms. Antonella's efforts, have all been sent out. And as the board is aware, the licensees have until December 31st to complete their renewals, including the renewal fee, and they must be current on all taxes and fees owed to the town or in an approved payment plan with the tax collector or DPW in the case of water and sewer. So that is underway. The capital planning process is underway as well. All of the departmental capital requests for FY17 are due this Friday, November 20th by noon, and the capital planning committee will have their first meeting on December 7th, which is a Monday of 2015. The executive buy board met on November 10th to discuss the FY 2017 budget schedule and process. That was myself and Ms. Cabri with Selectman Luca and Mr. Hood of the FinCom. The budget directive and guidance is going to be issued on November 30th, and we discussed that when the requests are due, and I'll get this timeline to the board and it'll be made public as well, that when all the requests come in, we'll create an electronic budget binder, if you will, of all of the requests, and the town accountant and I will prepare a budget approach, and the finance committee is going to prepare a budget approach, and we discussed that as we get to February, that as unlike in previous years, when we get to February, if we had a couple, maximum, a couple, one or two joint meetings of the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen to iron out any of those differences, if there are differences, or to discuss those issues, it may just be one meeting, and then move forward with that process in that way.
Yes.
Yeah, so if anybody at this table wants to, offer any suggestions toward the budget for next year, we can discuss it. Right.
I think I'd like to reiterate, I think it's a good idea that we're getting more involved, just more so for the quorum issues that the FinCom could have, could really slow things down quickly.
And I also just wanted to highlight, because I think they were two great events sponsored by the Regional School District. The high school had its 17th annual Veterans Day program, which I was able to attend, and Selectman Luca and Ms. Copeland, the town clerk. And I know that the Page Hilltop also had a great event that Selectman Hillman and the town clerk, Ms. Copeland, were able to
It was a
attend.
great event. They did a really nice job. They moved it along, and the kids kept the kids interested. It was really nice.
And I think that's great
Yeah.
that the
Tully does a
schools
good job.
celebrate and honor our
Good job.
veterans, because that often gets forgotten. So with that, unless there are any questions, I have two action items, and if there isn't objection from the board, I'd like to take them in reverse order than they are on the agenda. The first one is a proposal for a land use administrative coordinator, and there is a presentation on that. I wanted to thank Selectman Livingston for her efforts on that, as well as Ms. Antonellis. We've been working on this for some time. And then the second is the discussion on the authorization for hiring of the Economic and Community Development Director. So with that, okay, if we can pull up the, Madam Chair.
Where's the mouse?
Just use the arrows, it's easier.
Use the arrows? Okay, good.
You want me to kick that, Janice? Can you see it all right?
I'm just gonna slide over here a little bit. Sorry, that's where I'm at.
That better?
It's good for me. I don't know,
You guys see it,
hopefully
Mary?
it doesn't affect the camera. Oh.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so as you know, we've been throwing around the word land use for quite a while now, and now we're finally going to have a serious conversation about it. So basically what it is that we're attempting to reorganize the town of Ayer government to increase efficiency, to improve communication with between committees and boards, increase customer experience, that's definitely been a big thing, and consolidate some of the departments that seem to just kind of be, I won't use the word floundering, but you'll see when we get what I mean by that, okay? All right. So currently, we have very decentralized part-time positions with various appointing authorities, supervisors, as you can see. It has not been conducive to the public. And because of this, you don't have centralized, organized land functions. People get a little upset when they hear the word land, but if you go in for a building permit, you know, it's like you're gonna replace a window. Technically, the building's on a piece of land, so I don't think anybody should get too bogged down by the term. But because of this, this has caused a very frustrating customer resident experience, and that is what we are trying to solve here. So currently, when you look at this, I need my glasses to see. Currently, when you look at the way the current third floor is set up, the big thing that I'm trying to show here is that you see them all right? You can see where some do connect, but you don't see where they connect with one another. Okay? Wow, that was simple. Okay? So that's currently what's going on. This means there's no full-time coverage in any department, with the exception having been the Economic and Community Development Director, which is currently vacant. Even with full-time coverage, he's often out of the, you know, I'll say he, because it happened to be a he, wasn't always in the office because he was out doing other things. This left the department kind of empty. No administrative support, leaving the inspector administrator, especially, we've talked about it numerous times, for the building inspector to interface with public and perform all administrative matters. Permits, information, applications are all left outside closed offices with no human interaction, something that we've all been very frustrated about. And of course, the Planning Board, Board of Health, and Parks Commission are all elected volunteers with no set schedules, creating a void for daily customer service. So that's really the goal of what we're trying to solve here. So the proposed solution would be have a land use coordinator who would help with the overseeing and coordinating between the boards such as the Planning Board, Conservation, Board of Health, Economic Development, Grants, and Building Department functions, to basically centralize One full-time professional position reporting directly to the Board of Selectmen via the town administrator. Removing historic barriers such as reporting to various elected boards, commissions. Full-time position would be union, and it would of course provide professional support and guidance to the planning board. Now, there are some that's going to say, well, this is about the Board of Selectmen trying to take control. This is not about control. The problem has been identified, and we are trying to solve this with the solution. That is the purpose of tonight. So again, we're trying to increase the customer service experience by having a one-stop shopping. I know that's something we've all discussed over the time, is to getting that done. For example, representation of all land use functions at department head meetings. So Robert has a department head meeting. Instead of maybe 3 or 4 people having to come to his meeting, stopping what they're doing because they've already coordinated with the land use coordinator. The land use coordinator comes to the department head meeting. The other people are still at their desk able to work. And just thinking ahead, the land use coordinator wouldn't necessarily have to have his own meetings with the other functions on a weekly basis because he or she would be in constant communication with them. So he or she would already know this situation to be able to attend the department head meeting with full knowledge. Implementation could occur prior to the FY17 budget set by town meeting because the funding is already appropriated. And where was that funding coming from again, please? That was the building.
Yeah, through the chair, as the board's aware, the funding for this position would come from the funding that was appropriated to the building department, or that remaining funding, which we'll get into. And then just one other point to clarify, which the board is well aware of. In the case of the Board of Health, which is an elected board, and the Parks Commission, which is also elected, we do not remove or affect those positions. So the Board of Health will retain its administrative assistant, and the Parks Commission obviously will retain the Parks and Rec Director.
Right, which we will see as we go forward. Okay. So basically this is the current structure, okay, as it stands right now. And of course we show the Economic and Development Director being vacant, and of course the Planning Board Office Manager vacant. Okay, so you can see building commissioners, assistant zoning enforcement, Board of Health and administrative assistant, so on. Proposal number 1 would have a land use coordinator, okay, to be able to get all those functions to be able to talk to one another a little bit better. Community Development Program Manager, or Alicia. Conservation Agent stays, Building Commissioner stays, the Assistant Zoning Enforcement Officer stays, and the Board of Health Administrative Assistant stays. This has the potential savings of over $43,000.
That was creative. Did you guys work on that little bounce thing with the savings?
That was Selectmen Livingston.
There's a couple more.
Now, proposal number 2,
Santa Claus.
we also add in a land use administrative assistant to assist the coordinator. Again, keeping all the other positions the same. Gives you a potential savings of about $36,000, a little over $36,000.
What's being cut out that is a savings?
Nothing's being cut. You have a vacant position.
What
And right,
vacant position?
that would be the Economic Development Director,
Which is going to be filled.
which we're going to be discussing next as to how we're going to go forward with that.
Okay.
But right now, we're trying to solve this one problem. Okay, and then if you added in a professional planner, obviously that salary goes up, and then you're still keeping the other positions. That obviously costs more. There's absolutely no savings in that because you're definitely adding on. Okay. So with the proposed solution by adding the land use coordinator is now you see, whereas before none of these people were in any way kind of interacting, they were, but there was nothing driving them to interact. You now have, they're all interacting with them, with the administrative coordinator who's interacting with them. You have open lines of communication, and you have a better customer experience. The coordinator will report to the town administrator, who represents all departments listed above with the exception of community and economic development at pre-permitting meetings, provides full-time coverage for 5 part-time offices and ancillary coverage for office, community, and economic development. The coordinator would interface with all of, as we call it, the third floor offices and staff, primarily the building department, planning board, and provide secondary support to Conservation Commission, Board of Health, Parks Commission, Office, Community, and Economic Development. And the other nice thing is that if the administrative coordinator goes on vacation, none of the other functions still stop. There would be, there might be a pause in some type of customer interaction if a person came in and found that person on vacation, but they'd still be able to go to everyone else.
And we'd still be light years ahead of where we are now.
Right.
And if I may just add, as the board can see illustrated in this diagram, the administrative coordinator, again, is, and I know the board, because you've discussed this and can appreciate this, the intent is to have a full-time professional presence, if you will, on the third, and I guess you'd say the second floor to assist. As illustrated, we have all of these part-time functions, as do many towns across the third floor. So when an individual comes in, as Selectman Livingston pointed out, you see the 2 solid lines, and talking with the building commissioner and the planning board, I mean, this position, I hate to say the lion's share, but it changes, of support will really be with the building department and planning board in navigating the public through that process. The dashed lines, the conservation in green, the conservation administrator should be freed up more to do the conservation field work, and this person could provide coverage when applicable on the administrative functions. Again, the Board of Health is retaining their administrative assistant at 15 hours, but when that individual isn't there, there would be at least a presence that this person could take a message or so forth. Parks Commission, same thing. Often Mr. Thomas is out in the field quite a bit. Parents are coming up or so forth. There'd be, again, this presence. And then on economic development, which we'll talk about again in a moment as far as the vacancy, but also the community development program, which looks at the grants, again, providing some support. So those dash lines, again, we're looking to all obviously work together. And I think the point is there's no intent of a power grab. The intent is to provide increased customer service and a full-time sort of coordination of these processes up there. Thank you. So, as stated, in terms of this, if the board is willing, the reason that it would be a union position within the AFSCME 93 Town Hall Clerical Union is that it is largely, when I say administrative coordinator, it's a lot of administrative clerical support, and it mirrors, at least to some extent, the departmental assistant position, which is recognized by the union. So procedurally, what we would be requesting, if the board is willing, is authorization to negotiate with the union to create this position. In terms of the job description, does not fall under the purview of the personnel bylaw, the personnel policy, because it'd be in the union, but we would be mirroring to a large extent a lot of the departmental assistant functions. And we're looking to use the $40,000 that was appropriated under the building department, and I've discussed with the building commissioner, who thinks that this is a good idea as well. The position, again, subject to negotiation, is approximately around between $18 to $20, so let's say $19 an hour at full time, and that fits within the union rate. Again, all subject to negotiation upon your authorization, and that's where the funding source would come from. And I think we could all agree that the key is also getting the right person with the right skill sets, being very organized, customer friendly and so forth. As Selectman Livingston mentioned, if it is a process that can evolve and we can try it out, but there is no question that what is needed, there is a coordinated effort that's needed up there, and that's not in any way a reflection of any of the folks that do an excellent job. It's the nature of not just Ayer, but many towns. We don't have the luxury or the capacity to have full-time positions across the board. So everybody has sort of a different schedule and so forth. And it would be great to have a key point person. So that's what respectfully we're looking for, is authorization to create the position, which next steps, of course, if the board is willing, would be to just negotiate the parameters of the job description with the union, which would mirror the departmental assistant to an extent, and the rate obviously fits into that. And we would have to obviously follow the contract in terms of internal posting and then external.
In the future, can we get this ahead of time?
Sure.
You know,
Yep.
because it's just, I would like to have read it. Would you really limit the department heads to come to the meeting and have a secondary person come?
Well, to that point, like right now, I don't have any of them come meeting, like the building commissioner doesn't
Okay.
come, the conservation agent and so forth, because it's so part-time, that would take up 2 hours of their time.
And
So it'd
he's
be-
not here the days.
Yeah, and some of them aren't here, so it'd
Isn't
be,
it the days you're supposed to be?
Conference.
yeah, so it'd be more of an information resource.
Yeah, as long as the information flows back to them.
Right.
The other thing that bugs me, and I just don't get the land use coordinator title.
The devil is always in the details, and trying to, I mean, I think the key point is the key phrase is administrative coordinator, because it's administrative functions and it's coordinating that with the public in organizing
Well,
it.
God knows we need it.
Right, no, but I know the land use, it's true, the land use, you
Yeah,
can
land
get
use.
caught up in it.
We're open to new names,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've tried a couple, and it's just kind of, because land use coordinators kind of used in other towns. And then, of course, when you look at, they're really, you know, the person's really working with the planning board and the building department, kind of flows in line. When it, you know, used with other offices, then it does. It kind of loses something in the translation.
I hate to say it, but having all this on 2 floors
I was
is problematic.
I was going to say to you that the concern that has been brought up to me too is where Jeff's office is. I know he's stuck up there, but you get a mother of 3 that comes in here to drop off, you know, things like I do after a meeting. I run up and drop off the application for Cole's basketball. That becomes problematic because of the building. So, you know, a reorganization of space.
That's actually been thought of too, is the layout of where we have the offices of town hall. I mean, your customer service offices really should be,
down here.
you know, and if it's not really a customer-related office, then, yeah, they shouldn't necessarily
You
be
could
on
have
the
some
third
cubes
floor.
in here.
Yeah.
Selectman Hillman first brought this up in 2012, correct, in the sense that the
Yep,
third
I
floor,
remember mentioning
and none of us
before,
were
yeah.
here then, but if you will, sort of upstairs would be maybe more of your financial, and I'm just saying, not that it, and then you're more customer service orientated down here, because that is an issue we're still looking at. I know one of the things that Cindy will be coming in December to talk to the board about on the online permitting, which we're moving forward and ready to go, is this, she has a proposal covered by a grant, which is good, for a kiosk for the online permitting. But again, like anything, you need an ombudsman or woman, somebody to help the public sometimes with the kiosk. I mean, again, envisioning this person. But that is we need to really look at, we have some physical issues, space issues, and some limitations that we really need to look at as well. One other point I should point out is this as our discussion on the next position as well, too. And I think we can be all in agreement in this. The key is finding the correct person. I understand it's a union position, and there is the union procedure, and we always honor that and go through that. But at the end of the day, I think we need to be very selective. Ultimately, whoever, if we move in this direction, is subject to appointment by the Board of Selectmen, and you would have the opportunity, as the board, obviously, to vet that and to interview the person. The key is in finding the right fit, because there's a set of skills that we're looking for here that not everybody has. All of them is trying to get the customer service extremely organized in that coordination, and preferably an understanding, if you will, to some extent of these municipal functions.
It's
But-
going to be difficult to get somebody.
Right.
It's going to be.
Yeah, and as I think it will be too when we talk about the next one as well. But, so again, one last point in certain terms of the process. I had put out a questionnaire, we had put out a questionnaire through the MMA and talked to a lot of other towns about tackling these issues and got a lot of feedback. And a lot of them also said, whatever you find or propose, can you share with us? Because this is a very common problem in a lot of towns. I know that Groton right now, for example, is advertising for, has some different features to it, but again, looking at a land use type of coordinator. And I agree, the term land use, that's how it sort of started off. That administrative coordinator, I mean,
This sounded, well,
Yeah.
you're the town administrator and administrator coordinator, just, then you
Yeah.
got the assistant to the town administrator, and it's like.
yeah.
it's
So,
just- Yeah, the name falls kind of flat, we agree.
So, again, to illustrate, and I talked at length with the building commissioner about this, because he is part-time, the assistant zoning enforcement officer is part-time, and getting up to speed. I said to the building commissioner, if this position was put in place, what the expectation would be is if Selectman Hillman goes on Monday to pull a permit on the second floor, on Monday, the way it is, neither of them are here, and there will be, starting the beginning of January, this kiosk if you're an online type of person, but a particular individual, there's always questions. There needs to be a full-time, knowledgeable presence that can guide the person through that process. Or as we know, on larger projects, it's not just building, it's planning, building planning, conservation, something that can facilitate it through that process.
Or a lot of people don't know who they need to talk to.
Exactly.
And this would help, because.
You're doing an addition and you're in the 100-foot setback, so where do I go first? Do I go to conservation? Do I go to Gabe? Do I go to planning?
Right.
Do I go to zoning? You know, I mean, that's
So
where.
that's what the purpose of this is, to solve that problem. Go to that person, because that person will be able to like, oh, this is who you want to go see. They're off today, but I can help you, blah, blah, blah. And I think that
Well, we
it
discussed,
definitely has the potential to work.
we discussed it before about online too.
Right.
I agree.
mean, if you need this, you go here, go see this one, go see that one. And I think it was Westford that.
Yeah, you
actually
pull
had
in
that.
Westford, and Westford does a good job. The only thing they don't do is come up with a fee, so then they send you, and then you gotta pay for it after. But Chelmsford does a nice job where you go on, fill out the permit, and, you know, you can either do a PayPal or whatever to pay for the permit, and then an administrative assistant would come in the morning and say, because I've done permits at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know,
Right.
just been up and just done it, been done.
I
Administration,
want to open up a hot dog stand. Where do I go?
yeah.
Right.
Right.
And then the administrative assistant comes in and goes through them all and says, here, Gabe, here's the, you know, because Gabe's the one doing all that now, too.
Right.
So that takes,
But the thing is too, is even, you know, doing it online is great, and we're gonna be getting there, you know, with the new website. But even that will take a little time for that word to fully get out, for people to realize, oh, they finally have it on the website, I can do it on the website. So while people are learning that, they'd still be coming in here, and this person can, and then while you help them, say, hey, and in the future, you can do it online.
and a lot of things like small jobs, it's when you can get in here. I know when I started John's, Gabe was out, and then he finally called me and said, Chris, you need to get over here.
Right.
And he knew I meant to get here, it just, we didn't jive,
Exactly.
and finally get over here, but, you're in the field, you're driving by, all right, I'll stop and pull the permit. So a lot of people still will be coming in.
Also to what we're finding out, well, Cindy's not here anymore, but there's so much work on the front end, putting that stuff online. There's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Gabe doesn't have the time.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
Because he's so
agree.
busy, so
Yeah.
we're hoping this person can help and.
And I
make
think
that
people
whole-
get lost with the building commissioner and think that he just goes and inspects. He reviews every plan that comes across his desk.
Right.
So, I mean, there is a lot there.
So that's what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, I'm good with the position. I don't know what we're gonna call it, but
Well, hopefully too, maybe when you're sitting down with the union, you guys can come up with a better name or something.
And what I guess the question, I'm sorry to interrupt, would this person be going to conservation, planning, all these meetings at night? Because, I mean, that certainly,
Probably not initially. We want to
Okay.
focus on, we want to focus on the front end here.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, that could be something that evolves down the road,
Mhm.
but no, I wouldn't think so.
Not even a planning board to take minutes?
At this time,
No.
they'd take, no.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to say that
Right.
definitively in granite. I mean, we can,
I mean, if you look at the proposed job description in the packet, I mean, it does talk about composing and types letters, order conditions, determinations, minutes of meetings. Now, that could be typing the minutes of the meetings that, here's my minutes, type them
Sure.
up nice,
Mhm.
you know? Um,
see, what happens too, you haven't been here, and I know you appreciate this from your business as well. So one of the two things we find is that when somebody from the public comes here, what makes it a positive customer experience, and there are some that are never going to be positive based on the nature of what it has or the nature of the person, but two things is if they have spoken with somebody that can give them some level of information, and I don't mean, well, you have to come back on Monday or what have you, and they have some takeaways. In other
Some
words,
direction.
if you come on Monday, this person, in terms of a window, a deck on the basic things, will be able to, or if you've done it on online Sunday night or what have you, can facilitate that. It's a much more positive experience than what happens now for those of us that are here. And we're looking at this too, when you come in both sides of the building, about having a building directory. I mean, that's another, but you come upstairs, they go upstairs to see building and it's closed and there's either things taped to the door, conservation or so forth, and then they come down to the town clerk's office. It's just a jungle gym, if you will. So that's what we're trying to accomplish with this proposal.
No, I get it. Just, I don't get the name.
Yeah.
Like I said, other towns are using it, we couldn't come up with something better.
So what are you looking for, a motion to enter into negotiations with the union?
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
I will make a motion to authorize the town administrator to enter into negotiations with the union for the purpose of, and I'm using this name loosely at the moment, land use coordinator, which is subject to change, based on the presentation by Selectman Livingston.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye.
So, through the chair, procedurally, two things will happen. I will meet with the union and put together, if you will, a proposal, a memorandum for this board's consideration. So you'll be able to see that in terms of there's a proposed job description, but all of those details.
Right.
That'll be the next light, if you will. And then from
Awesome.
that will be the process and the candidate coming before you. So thank you on that. And thank you to Selectman Livingston, and to Ms. Antonellis, and to the board. for
Would
your
I, can I
support.
just, would that be what's a probationary period, 6 months?
Yes.
Could we possibly push for a year on that? Just because it's a new position. Does
Yeah,
anybody object to that? I'd hate to get someone in there.
I mean, I would have to look at, how other towns do it, because, I mean, a year probationary period can almost sound kind of insulting, you know?
Well, we have it for the police officers, though.
Well, police officers, that's different.
Yeah.
I mean, they're carrying weapons and doing safety. An administrative coordinator, an administrative function, so I personally.
I just hate to get the wrong person
I
in
understand
there
what-
for a position we don't know yet.
Well, I think that goes into another conversation that, we've all kind of touched on. But I think that we have to empower our department heads that if you have a real problem, you need to handle it. You need to handle it at the lowest level first, in the proper way. We've seen that happen before you get to the Board of Selectmen, and it's become the big deal. But I think we need to, kind of work with the department heads of like, stop dancing the lemons, I think is how it was said, on something else.
Just my
I remember
concern
the
is,
expression.
we've let some probations go in my time being here after 6 months that have just flown by and probably shouldn't have been.
Well, I mean, we gotta go with the union contract.
Yeah.
So,
But we can also.
Yeah.
I was just saying
ask.
because it's a new position that
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
might
but I-
be 8 months. I don't know.
I think that definitely, we should definitely be, as soon as the probationary period's ended, have the rear review of how it's going.
Mhm.
I think that that's something that we do have to get better at, too.
Yes.
Following up in the probationary period.
Following up, and
Not
setting
after.
it so that the future boards also know you have to stay on top of that type of stuff.
Okay. All right. Through the chair, the second piece, or in the final piece of my report, is the issue of the Economic and Community Development Director. And the position is vacant. The current appropriation for that position in terms of salary is about almost $64,000. And in talking, and we've had this discussion here as well, I'm putting forth at least a proposal for consideration to authorize the hiring process to fill this vacancy. What I'm proposing that with this position, that the board authorize a search committee, which I outline in the memo and for the public's benefit, that would be led by myself, Ms. Antonellis, the benefits and payroll manager, a member of the planning board, the DPW superintendent, because if we want to get into true economic development, there's a lot of issues there, a member of the IDFA, and a member of the Ayer business community. And again, it's the prerogative of the board, however you want to compose the committee. But I think that if we move in this direction, one of the two things I've heard from the Board of Selectmen in my almost 6 years here is looking at, again, I think we have to be extremely selective, hence why we need
Where were we the last time?
a search committee. I wasn't here for the last search, but we need to be very selective.
I didn't mean that as a shot.
Right,
like David.
no, I think we need to be very selective in trying to, in what is it that, exactly what we want. In other words, there's a job description for this position, and there's some issues with that, not issues that pertain to the classification of it, but just the way it is. But one of the themes we've talked about is the issue of grants, the issue of marketing commercial real estate, the issue of
Marketing the town
right,
as a whole.
marketing, grants. So one of the things is, if we don't need to just fill the position to fill the position. I'm not saying that the board would do that or I would do that, but it can get very challenging to find a qualified person that's the right fit. And in this case, definitely in terms of the probationary period, which is generally, this is not union at the end of the board, is generally 6 months. In this, you definitely want a year to give the person an opportunity to meet those benchmarks. But one of the things I think the board needs to consider is, does it need to be full-time? I'm just full-time being salaried at 40 hours. Does it need, could it be done in 30? Could it be done in 25? So the issue of what are the expectations of the town and the needs of the town for this position? So I'll stop there.
Well, I know that currently what's in the packet as far as the job description, which was, this is the one that was adopted by the Air Personnel Board in August. This one almost reads more like a resume. If you look at the position purpose, I mean, there's really nothing substantial in it. So I do think that it needs to be rewritten. I mean, in it said that, member of the 4th of July committee, the former fire station reuse committee, all good committees to be on. Those are just 2. There happen to be more listed in there. All
Water
good
plants.
communities, but are we really going to require them in the job description to be a part of the 4th of July committee?
No, I agree.
I mean, as far as, what else I wrote?
And that's where David excelled. Party planning
well, in the
and stuff like that. I mean, you're great at it, but
But at the same time, quite honestly, I hate to say it, we get down there and then you kind of left the state senator hanging. So that was kind of,
Yeah.
So I really think that we need to really look at how the job description is written, because I read this thing and it's like this, just screaming a lot of things wrong in here. It says in here, a master's degree in business administration, economics, marketing, or related field. Master's degree? I don't think we're not going to be able to afford a master's degree.
I agree. You're not going to find a master's degree at part-time or for the salary that.
Right. I mean, master's degree, heck, you get a go-getter associate's degree person and you're going to be fine. So, that really needs to be tweaked. What was this? It said in here presentations. What presentations? I mean, so we've kind of complained about it as a board, things that were lacking. Now here's our chance to really fine tune what it is we're looking for and what would be the best for the town.
Yeah, I agree. My envision is someone is aggressive, as I told you at the last meeting. Solicit business. If we're looking for a pharmacy, then go at it. Not, do you think I should call? Because Robert and I were in those meetings. Oh, I don't know if I should call him again. Well, call him until he hangs up on you. I mean, that's your job. You're not your friend. I mean, this is what the town wants.
Well, see, now that opens it up. So then you want somebody who definitely has a good marketing experience, because maybe they could sit down and do a marketing analysis and say, hey, I've done a marketing analysis and this is why you should come to the town. And
a lot of times you see people will read the paper and, oh, so-and-so is expanding. And that's where you pick up the phone and say, well, hey, you have a great little town right on the railroad. That might be perfect for you. And I think that's how L3 got filled. I think that was, pushed.
So we definitely need the marketing to be built up,
Or someone with grant writing experience, because this town's been incredibly successful with that, and that's with the chiefs and Mark going out on their own pretty much and doing that. And does it have to be full time? I don't know.
I throw that out there.
Seems like there was. What do you think?
I think if I said it before when Chris Ryan was here. He was a planner and the economic development. I thought, it had a lot of possibilities there. There were other issues, and not Chris's fault, but I think it could work both with the planning board and work with the town itself. And that's how you could fill it as a full-time economic development director.
But you're right, the planner, because economic development is part of the planning board. Everything that goes through economic development goes through planning.
But by the same token, like, you know, having a 40-hour work week, 8, 9 years ago when this Chris Ryan was there, is that still good for now?
Well, true, because 8, 9 years ago, everybody was still taking their head out of the Devon's closing to some degree and trying to revitalize.
But I mean, we also have to look at, like, where is the town now? Where are the properties? I mean, we're pretty much built out, so where is 40 hours going to be too much and we have somebody twiddling their thumbs? Or do we come up with, I don't know, an effective 30 hour and with effective, you know, job description saying these are the points?
And built out is a huge misnomer in the construction and industry. I mean, you go to Lexington, there's no land available, so what happens is they buy your house and they tear it down and they build.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right, but we don't want to do that.
But you know what I mean, like,
Right.
let's say the CBS wanted the Rotary. Initially, they wanted Jarvis Ford, and that's where they wanted to go. That's how it works. So, I mean, I think there's opportunities everywhere.
I think it should be a full-time position, personally.
If you encompass it with...
And just make it detailed. This is what you have to do.
So,
Yeah,
to that point,
not watering flowers.
right,
and-
so real,
Well, that's kind of brings up the point. If
Right.
there was that much time
yeah.
to be able to do that,
No,
that's why I bring up that point.
and what I guess, and
No,
not
we
to
could have filled
criticize,
it a different way.
and not to criticize someone who's not here who I liked personally.
Yeah.
He did not have the wherewithal to be aggressive, where I would call somebody until they called the police on me, I guess. If you were, you know what I mean, or push
It has to
and
do with
market
a
it.
skill set.
And then we talked about, I think we talked one time about maybe having the movie theater make a commercial of Ayer, or doing something, you know, a promotional thing that we could send out to businesses and stuff. And it just never really got past that point, you know?
I think there's plenty of work.
Well, just real quick, if I could, in terms of if we proceed in the full-time approach, I think it's important that we do a search process with a search committee and all that in the board, and that committee make recommendation or recommendations. It may be, we're lucky 2 people or whatever,
Yeah,
and you
don't
guys.
settle.
Right, no settling. But just in terms of what could be in the position,
What
just
do you mean?
some skill sets. I mean, one is, they're definitely in terms of interfacing with the business community, there are over 450 businesses in Ayer alone, which is pretty impressive, and I understand that. We'll talk about marketing, grants experience. This person would staff the IDFA, which is, there are some opportunities. We have a great IDFA and a great loan pool, but I think there's a need for some skill sets there, meaning in this position, to better help them. Oversee, if you will, Alicia has a very good handle, I shouldn't use that position. We have a candidate that has a good understanding of housing in the CDBG. This would be oversee that. The town's TIF program, which hasn't come up, the tax incremental financing, commercial real estate background, planning credentials. I mean, we can put that in the job description, and some IT skills as well. I know that we've all talked about this, but Selectman Hillman and I have talked about this for almost 3 years, about still on the website having that interactive map and so forth. I think this is going to be a tough bill to fill, and I think if we're truly going to be very selective, the process may take more than one bite at the apple. But
we might have a candidate who might be weak on a couple of those areas, but in the resume and background and everything shows that they have such initiative and
Yeah.
such a go-getter attitude that has managed to climb in all areas ever presented, even though they don't have the formal background, that may override some of that, we may find, however it works out. Yes, but I think it is time I agree, I think it is time we be selective and get the right person.
so, for the purposes of tonight, to bring that process, again, as I put in the memo, what I'm looking for is for the board to authorize the creation of the search committee, as I outlined, as well as to begin that process. And I'll convene the search committee and put together a detailed job ad.
So move.
and let's see where we come on that. We haven't spent any real money until this board appoints,
Correct.
Get that?
And we're looking at spring anyways at this point.
probably, right, into Selectman Livingston's point, depending on the candidate. There may be a great candidate that is semi-retired or so forth that could do it in 30 hours, at least core things. We don't know until we get the
Right.
person.
Right.
We may get nobody.
And the general public might not realize this, and I see it because I'm in other towns. This town is about as hot as you can possibly get when you go to other communities. When I say I live in Ayer, you know, people are, I'm looking for land in Ayer. I'd like to move my business to Ayer. You know, Ayer needs this, Ayer needs that. People are retiring to Ayer. There's a good future here, which obviously the more people, the more businesses to cater to those people will come if we solicit them.
But just to throw it out there, just for an FYI, there are other communities who actually have a committee of volunteers that do their economic development that they find has worked very well for them.
And if we could get, and that would be great, but we can't even get people to get on the FinCom.
Well, I think what's happened is that
Or it's the same-
always the same people.
It's the same 30 people,
And the
if that,
new
in every
people
committee.
trying to come in feeling shut out. And that's the problem. We got to stop trying to shut out the new people. let the new people
And I
in.
think this town meeting was a little more encouraging. I saw some new faces
Mhm.
this year that we haven't seen in the past, so hopefully
Yeah.
that comes.
So, but
In-
I throw that out there as an FYI. You know,
In just shaping the parameters, subject to your approval, just to initiate the
Personal service.
process, we would improve on the job description with the personnel board, do the ad. The position, just for the sake of thinking, at least in terms of FY17, has been classified and graded at a grade 11. The incumbent that vacated we were compensating at about 64,000. This, on the new grid, the range would be 57 to 60, would be step 1 through 3. Just
Now-
as we shape it.
so that just a quick question. That's based on a job description that calls for a master's, right?
Right,
So if the job description called for a bachelor's, does that change it like another 1 or 2?
that's
Boy,
what we,
Yeah.
there's we will use the new rating manual, when I say we, the personnel board. We'll take a look at the
We've
job
added planner
description.
to it too, right? Isn't that what we're thinking? Because you're adding
Yeah.
another thing to it as well. I mean, obviously that's for
Right.
down the road, but
I would look at it both
Yeah.
ways. Planner, economic development, economic development director. Full-time, better job description.
Yeah.
yeah.
Search out other towns and what they have. And come back. But, I mean, I think we had, the last pool,
Didn't you have 3?
it was poor.
Well, you hired a guy that commuted 80 miles a day each way. Not that that's anything wrong with that, good for him, but I'm just saying, I mean.
But there were other ones that he was better than.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm sure he was. I'm just saying that, yeah, you're right.
I think you only had 3 and 1 dropped out. I wasn't here.
Yeah, I
but-
remember reading the meeting
And the
minutes
record,
about it.
Yeah.
And there was something about, I think, the fact that, I think, if I remember the meeting minutes correctly, it was kind of alluded, at least, that one of the reasons why the one that got picked was because he showed that initiative of driving those 2 hours.
so
Where he was insane.
if the board
Yeah.
respectfully would authorize the beginning of authorize the hiring process.
I already made a motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I don't know where she's trying to go.
Did we vote
Are
on
you
it?
trying to get out?
But I just want to, we can have discussion, right? I think it's just important that the job description is strong and, but gives us flexibility.
And it needs to be tweaked, and I think we should
Yeah.
revisit it once, you start digging into it and speaking to, I mean, I think, Robert, when we meet, we'll touch on this in a minute, when we meet with Littleton tomorrow, it might be a good idea to talk with Keith, because I know they have that position over in Littleton on how their department uses it. I think they have too many bodies in Littleton, but at least get an idea.
Well, you pay taxes too, anyway.
So do we go to the personnel board first before we even start the search? That's what I'm unclear.
Well, we have to write the job, we have to come up with what we want.
So what I would recommend is per the motion would authorize the creation of the search committee. I convene the search committee to discuss these very issues.
Mhm.
We'd have a meeting, the personnel board meets on December
Do we have a quorum?
2nd.
Personal board?
Yes. So we meet, and I'll say, I'll give them an overview.
You
These are the,
appointed 2 people last time.
Oh, right.
yeah, these are the things we've talked about.
Resigning.
So then send that job description to the personnel board, have them look at it, because some of these changes, again, it has to go to the personnel board, some of these changes may or will affect the classification,
Mhm.
some may not. For example, if you say preference in grant writing skills, for example, that's a preference, it doesn't change the, as you know, whereas masters versus bachelors could potentially change it.
Even with that, I mean, you could get someone with a lot of experience that doesn't have a master's.
Correct.
Right.
Right.
And I'm a
so
firm
much
believer
more
in that.
qualified
We had,
than
That's right.
we had a former selectman who was very adamant that the police chief have a master's degree.
Right.
I felt at that point that he's been the police chief, I think he does his job fine. What is a master's degree gonna make him be
Right.
a better police officer in his
Right. It is.
fifties? And then I'm a firm believer in that. I mean,
Yeah.
you're qualified,
Me too.
you're qualified.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you're not gonna hire anybody with a, what are those, GEDs or with, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's sometimes
Well, I
people.
don't know, are they,
You-
40 years, 45 years old, and they got a
Yeah,
GED,
well, yeah,
but they've
but I
accomplished
think we
things?
agree on that. I
Yeah.
don't think a master's it sells me
Yeah.
on a lesser candidate because he has a master's degree. That means nothing to me.
Well, half the time, the degree it never even relates to the job
Correct.
that they're going to. All it shows is that they took the initiative to get more of an education. No.
Yeah, so with the motion, it will create the search committee, which we will work on these issues with the personnel board and move forward. But then once those pieces are in place, with the hiring process.
All right, so
Motion made and second.
We can vote.
I'm sorry, what was the motion? Oh, the motion was made
So
on
moved.
that.
I second.
He so moved it, you seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair says aye. Okay. All right, so now, nobody had any new business
Just
questions
quick update.
listed, but
Yeah, just I thought you were gonna put it on here. We met with Littleton. I think you guys are aware of this.
I was wondering why that wasn't on there.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be on there too, which is fine. We met with Littleton, 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Robert?
Meeting.
We're meeting again. They met last night to discuss with their board. We are meeting tomorrow in Littleton
Yep.
at their fire station with their fire chief, police chief. They did, if you've been out that way, they had traffic counters both ways on 2A and on Willow. So they're gonna get a traffic count. They're gonna come with all their data and moving this along. So we are gonna come up with a plan, I think, tomorrow. I don't know if Mark was digging into it too about the Pingree property
Mhm.
and what that agreement was exactly and where it is, because there's some dispute there and whether it's, I just saw the brief email today. But Littleton seems to want to push it with our help. Obviously, Mass DOT needs to be involved, so.
right.
It is moving. I don't know how fast it's gonna go up the chain, but
Well, yeah.
I think we're working to get well together. Chairman Carr is a lot like
You-
me, a little bit of a bull in a china shop, but he moves things along. He's also the head of MassCorp, where we got our street signs from a few years ago, so I think it's gonna work out well. Mark had a lot of good ideas. And then it's a matter of using Carly's contacts at Mass DOT too, so we're bringing you in to get this thing.
How about state legislators?
Well, there was, yeah, we agreed not to bring them in, and then Mr. Bergman sent it out, and then Robert did the right thing and followed suit, and then I don't think we've heard anything from him, have we?
Not yet, so, again, to Selectman Hillman's point and Selectman Card, and thank both of them for convening this. The meeting was good. We're meeting again tomorrow, and one of the purposes of tomorrow's meeting, which Selectman will report back, is what is our public strategy with respect to Mass DOT and the delegation. But as you said, the traffic counts have been done. They've done a check on the property of butters, because it's all in Littleton pretty much in terms of the land. Selectman Card, that Littleton secured at least an engineer to do a conceptual design.
Conceptual from, I believe the same company that we use,
Yeah.
they use for the mobile, but
Because
to
when
do
we
a
met,
design
we
up
met the 100% approved plans from previously in Littleton, and I think we agreed with them on this in the sense that those approved plans, there's no question that that would be an improvement, and we're not engineers, but they want the whole intersection, meaning in Littleton, the Bruce Road, the whole piece.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
So-
If you go that way, I don't know if you guys go that way, Gary, you probably don't go that way. Now. But if you go that way at all, Janice, in the
I've been
morning.
there that way before.
Yeah, I mean, you
It's
can't,
horrible. It's horrible.
there's so many variables there.
Yeah,
It's a lot of traffic, it's horrible.
You got the Citgo pulling out at an angle, you got Bruce Street.
Yep.
If you pull out this way, like in my van,
It's
you have
always
to
been
look
a
this
nasty
way.
spot, yeah.
Unfortunately, the person who was injured quite severely had nothing to do with Willow Road. He was pulling out of the Citgo, took a left, and there was a truck there. But there's been talk about, Ruth Ear's yard and, all sorts of, there's a lot going on there. Financially for Ayer, I don't know if there's much because it's not in Ayer, but we're just trying to work with them in terms of
Yeah.
Pingree and
Right.
I think it was a united front going in and getting an audience that Mr. Carr was putting together with the state safety officers and going there and pleading our case.
What's great is both towns, no question, are on the same
Yeah,
page.
which is good.
So people's ears are open.
Yeah, I know Chairman Carr, obviously being in the state, went right up the chain to people he knew in the, public safety, I don't know what their titles are, and Carly probably know better than me, and they were very open to convening a meeting and discussing it. And we're trying to avoid the tip process because you know how that goes.
Right.
This might be like almost an emergency type.
Yeah, everybody agreed at the meeting, the transportation improvement plan, if we go through the tip, especially where it's the two towns, even if you could fast track it, you're looking at 5 years, and Littleton doesn't want to wait, we don't want to wait
No,
5.
we're looking like spring.
Yeah.
And so the purpose of tomorrow's meeting is to figure out exactly what are we going to ask from Mass DOT, what do we need the delegation to do, to really put together that exact ask.
And can I just say again, too, cautious with the legislature, because I
You're
did
right,
it for
because
9 years.
it
They'll
gets-
say, oh, we'll put some money in a bond bill. You will never see
I
it.
was just gonna say.
You won't. I've never seen one come out, ever.
No,
Democratic, Governor, Republican.
Yeah, no, I think that the legislature works in terms of pushing it along. Hence with the Rotary cleanup, the phone calls, the phone calls to MBTA about our other issue. That's where they come in
Once
handy,
it's
but
scheduled, yeah, that's a great avenue, but when you're looking for
Yeah.
funding and stuff, that's just an easy way for a legislator to say, oh, we can put it in this bond bill, but then it's out of their hands and Mass DOT has to decide what they want to spend.
because that is Representative Benson's and Arcero, I believe. from the
Correct.
Champaign.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have a little bit more of a definitive plan by the next time we meet.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And I did not represent myself as a chair, by the way. I don't know if you saw the email.
I did, and I was like,
I
wait
said
a
it.
minute
He did
here.
not.
I'm like, when did he become chairman?
That was a Littleton error.
That was Littleton error.
Yeah.
It was.
No,
Like-
no.
All right, anything else? All right, well then,
Make a
I like
motion
the
to approve
minutes.
the minutes, November 5th.
November 3rd.
I had a couple
November
corrections on November. No, they're great. Perfect. Yes, second.
Before you leave,
You,
after you approve the minutes, I have a couple of things I'd like to ask you.
okay. Motion made, seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chair says aye, minutes approved, yes.
3 quick things.
Quick.
When you did the announcements, you didn't say everything that was going on Saturday here in town, which is the usual thing, the Federated Church, Polytheater, 9 to 2, St. Andrews across the street, 9 to 3, and then the Friends of the Library are having the Hampstead Players up here
Upstairs at 1
for
o'clock on the
Christmas carol.
21st.
Yeah, so that's all.
That's all this
Saturday.
weekend?
Yeah.
Wow,
That's all Saturday.
okay.
And
Is that the same thing that I brought the boys to last year with the library? That's separate, right?
this is something
Okay.
different. It's a play group that they
Okay.
haven't come in that are
I
doing
remember, they
this.
loved that last year.
So, and then I was asked to find out from you what's going on with the old fire station.
Robert,
Oh,
25 words or less.
He looks excited.
Ears must be ringing, as
Yeah,
I
I
told you.
know,
We
but-
contacted
yeah.
town council. They have until December 31st to close this whole thing, and as far as we know, everything is
Everything's out of our hands.
Everything is out of the town. It's scheduled to close by the 31st, but we'll get an update.
And it's going to. I've talked to the developer, as you know, I recused myself. They're moving forward with some really nice conceptual
Yeah.
designs and
I'm expecting my
financing and-
delivery of balloons.
Yes.
And my third thing is, because I've asked this for about 3 years and I've never had any answer, and several people want to know what is going on up in West Main Street. You know, right beside where the environmental group bought all that land, they clear cut way back into the wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
They have piles of dirt. There's trucks going in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They took one house down. I believe they're gonna take the Yami Yami
I
place
hope so.
down.
Mhm.
But nobody seems to know what's going on. Piles of stuff, trucks there all the time.
that may be the
Madam
backfill
Chair,
of foundations.
we'll
Yeah.
find out for a public, to the extent we can, for December 1st. I'll find out what I find out before then, but for the public,
Gauge it.
yeah.
And there's supposedly a rumor that 211 is for sale too, so I wanted to,
211? What's
Yeah.
that?
you know where that et cetera place is with all the
Yeah, they're
secondhand
closing
stuff in it?
Yeah,
Oh,
the end of the month.
good, so we can get, I'm just gonna shut up. I'm not gonna say anything.
But anyway, thank you very much.
All right, so, anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Good night, everyone, and have a happy